Hello again and welcome to another video. It's about Eldorado and Ting, and in this video I'm going to show you how you can get pro level dancehall reverb sounds on your mixes. Now without further ado, let's dive into this.
Eldorado Productions.
Outstanding.
First, I'm using two reverb and I sum those two reverb to a reverb bus in which I call it reverb sum. Now for reverb 1, it's a plate reverb and I send it to my lead reverb bus. First, what I have on this is Waves MV2, and what practically this does is reduce the high levels and bring up the low levels. So I kind of pump in it a little bit, let it be louder, and bring up the lower parts of the actual sound itself. After that, I have a DSer, and I'm DSing at 5500 kilohertz. You can change this depending on how and where the frequency of those sounds are. Some of these mixes that you probably might have a higher register of S's and lower register, in which the S sound, it doesn't really change frequency. It's practically just one frequency. It doesn't matter which song, it stays consistent. What I have this for is practically giving it a little bit of width, and that's about it. For this particular song, I'm using gold plate reverb from Kush, and I'm going to play it, let you hear it on the reverb section of the song. So this is what it sounds like.
Driveway full of palm trees. On each side just to capture the sea breeze. Panoramic is a sight scene. Believe me, dog, my work feet up on my feet, me ain't easy. Even when them said me couldn't do it. Them vision blurry so them wouldn't see it. No.
Now, for this particular reverb, you can use any reverb. It's just that for different types of song, it is reverb dependent. I wouldn't recommend using one type of reverb on every track, in which with a little bit of tone shaping, you can really get that. But for certain tracks, I really think that certain type of reverb should be applied to it, because the manufacturer makes the reverb sounds a little bit different. And I don't really think that one reverb fits all because of harmonic and the audio part and what they model it from, and so on and so forth, the blending option, in which the tone of the particular song or of the particular artist, certain reverb will not fit that particular tone. So where tone of the reverb is concerned, you really have to really keep that in mind to get that perfect reverb for your sound. Now for this one, I think it's the stock sound. I don't remember. I've been on this song on and off. But the reverb time, what I do normally, I start off with the basic time that the reverb gives me and adjust it a little bit, or you can use the exact calculation of how you calculate reverb time for it to be exact. For the most part, I just listen and adjust, but there are times when I do make adjustment and precise number of calculated reverb, and I will get to that in a moment. For this drive, it's like a saturation type of emulation. I don't know what it is, but there are times when I drive it too hard and that dirty reverb sound, it doesn't fit this particular song. But for this particular song, I need a more like of a dark tone of not really too dark tone of a reverb, but I really need it clean somewhat with a little bit of sauce on it. So I drive the input of it 100% width. Pre-delay is around 50 millisecond. Depends on the size of the reverb you're using. You really have to really calculate, change the pre-delay. And what the pre-delay is the sound. When does it start after the initial sound? Just put it that way. So it's 15 milliseconds after the initial first sound, it starts to react to the material. So what this does for me is let the vocal go through the reverb before you even hear the effect of the sound. So as I said before, like the width, it give it a little bit more spacious sound without using an imager plugin and so forth like that. But there are instances where I personally use an imager plugin after a reverb. It just depends on the type of reverb that I'm using. And you have between steel and plate reverb tonality, or the material that was used to make the reverb sound that this particular reverb was modeled from. Now, another thing to get pro reverb sound is um, tone shaping, meaning that taking out some of the high, taking out some of the lows, and you can even EQ your reverb sound. So, for example, here,
Driveway full of palm trees. I need side just to capture the sea breeze.
there are times when I remove some of the mid range a little bit just to not let the reverb really mask the presence of the vocals. And there are times when I just leave it as is because it does affect the sound of the reverb sound, and it really works real well. So you can try even an EQ. You can try different or many different types of reverb, but you know, be mindful of how you shape it. Don't let the reverb sound extra thin if it's not something that you're going for. So for reverb 2, here I have a stock reverb sound, and it is a large hall. And what I use this for is like for the tail of the reverb. And as you can see, I have a shorter pre-delay sound for this one because I really want it be initially be there. But because this particular reverb, the sound of it is so low, I really have a pre-delay of a shorter pre-delay or quicker pre-delay sound, and I'm using the diffusion to let the end part of the reverb sound a little bit more what's that word that it doesn't cut off quickly, so it slightly fade away. So with that, I'm going to mute the first reverb and play the second one so you can hear it.
Driveway full of palm trees. I need side just to capture the sea breeze. Panoramic is a sight scene. Believe me, dog, my work feet up on my feet, me ain't easy. Even when them said me couldn't do it. Them vision blurry so them wouldn't see it. Now my fridge come like walking. Driveway full of palm trees. I need side just to capture the sea breeze. Panoramic is a sight scene. Believe me, dog, my work feet up on my feet, me ain't easy. Even when them said me couldn't do it. Them vision blurry so.
So as you can hear, the hall reverb is a much more brighter reverb than the plate reverb. And for the most part, there's a particular reverb that I always use, and it's from Soundtize. It is the little plate, and this reverb really works out well for the most part. There are a lot of times I really use this on the mix. So let's play this one, let you hear it.
Driveway full of palm trees. I need side just to capture the sea breeze. Panoramic is a sight scene. Believe me, dog, my work feet up on my feet, me ain't easy. Even when them said me couldn't do it. Them vision blurry so them wouldn't see it. Now my fridge come like walking.
So you can really shorten the sound. This particular reverb really works well for the most part, like for most mixes. But there are times when I need different tonality for different type of vocal. The next thing that as I demonstrated before, I ducked out a little bit of the hall because I didn't want it to take up too much space and the mid range. So I removed that a little and I add some RC20 to it. Just add a little bit of wobble so the reverb can be constantly moving. You know, instead of just having that constant sound, you just have some random fluctuation in the reverb. So the reverb just constantly moving, you know, up and down, round and round. So it is for movement purposes. Now, I bust these two reverb to like a reverb sum bus, and I use the side chaining of this particular reverb. So compressor, should I say. So what this does for me is push down the reverb while the vocal is playing, and when it stops playing, it brings up the reverb, so it doesn't sound really cluttered. So it gives me a more cleaner sound, a more precise sound, a more controlled sound for the particular sound. There are times when I remove the side chaining because it doesn't make sense in the song, and there are times when I really have to apply it, especially when the song is not a very spacious song. I will have to apply it just to keep the reverb under control. So with it, the side chain on it, this is what it sounds like.
Driveway full of palm trees, and each side just to capture the sea breeze. Panoramic is a sight scene. Believe me, dog, my work feet up on my feet, me ain't easy. Even when them said me couldn't do it. Them vision blurry so them wouldn't see it. Now my fridge come like walking. Closet full of new fleets. From Balmain to Docks Nut to the filling piece.
So I'm going to play it with everything like in context. This is what it sounds like with the sidechain and reverb on it.
Driveway full of palm trees, and each side just to capture the sea breeze. Panoramic is a sight scene. Believe me, dog, my work feet up on my feet, me ain't easy. Even when them said me couldn't do it. Them vision blurry so them wouldn't see it. Now my fridge come like walking. Closet full of new fleets. From Balmain to Docks Nut to the filling piece. Driveway full of palm trees, and each side just to capture the sea breeze.
So as you can hear, there are times when I notice I hear certain mixes is like the reverb turned on really, really low. And for me, it can be a good thing and it cannot be a good thing. For one, for me, I like to push my reverb sound so I get the most out of the sound. Why not apply something when you can get the most out of it? So I like to push the reverb and then I turn it back down. I apply my sidechain to even push the reverb further down when it's the performer of the song is performing in the song, or when the vocals is being played, because that is the main protagonist of the song, the vocals. Everyone wants to hear the vocal. So not using reverb to really mask everything if it is not intended to. You can really use this type of technique to have more precise control over the song, and you really have to take in like the amount of compression being applied while doing the sidechain, because it can ruin the mix and how far or how fast it release said compression applied in sidechaining. So if this video was helpful, please do like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button, and please leave some comments below. So without further ado, again, it's your boy El Dorado. Peace out.